So we're talking to Mark. This is day 3 of our trip here, and obviously we bumped into you for a second time. You were talking about access to us just a moment ago, getting into the Bella Centre here. What sort of problems are going on?
Well, I mean, the whole week it's been incredibly difficult. You know, number of people who've been registered have far outnumbered the people who can actually securely enter the building, and so there's been a lot of wrangling. At times, people haven't been allowed in at all, even if they have been registered. A lot of confusion about who can go where, when, and how. What's been decided for these last 2 days is that from the observers, and the observers include environmental groups, women's groups, business groups, research groups, trades unions groups, indigenous peoples groups, all the different sectors of society. Between them, and I think there was something like 17,000 registered, between them they have 300 places for these last 2 days. And so last night there was a lot of, and that's an advance on originally the recommendation from the security people that no observers should be allowed in at all. So with some strong negotiations and the different groups supporting each other, there are now 300 allowed in, and roughly divided equally between different groups, and that's for today and tomorrow. And so there are another 16,500 people who do have access to a secondary venue in the middle of the city, but of course that's not the same as being at the conference itself.
We'd heard similar things here actually, that there was going to be a second venue for observing, which seems something of an oxymoron really, observed from somewhere else. What are your thoughts on transparency as this progress gets to the business end?
Well, it's a very tricky issue. I mean, I think we all know that it could have been better organised from the outset. I mean, if the organisers knew that there were only going to be room for 15,000 people, to have allowed something like 40-odd thousand, I don't know exact numbers, to have registered was foolish. And that made it difficult. And of course, with heads of government deciding to come at the last moment with their security details, that there is a space issue. So I don't think there's, some people have been suggesting it's a conspiracy to stop people having access to the process. I certainly don't think that's the case, but it isn't transparent and it's very difficult to know what's going on. Partly the nature of the negotiations, the processes are so complicated. I mean, from what we've been hearing overnight, it's not so much that they're disagreeing on content, they're disagreeing on the process. And one of the funny things that was said this morning in our meeting was that one of the chairs of the groups was having consultations about how to have consultations about how to agree a process. 2 days to go.
Wow. Thank you for your time, Mr. Kenber. Very kind.